Hey, what's up everybody out there? iWesTCoastiN here, and today I have a very special video for you guys. Not only is it going to be a very special video, but it's also going to be a very helpful video, and also a very long video. For you guys today, I'm going to be answering the question that a lot of people have, and that is, how do I get subs, or how do I get my channel from relatively unknown to somewhat known? Basically, how do I get recognized for making the great videos that I believe I make? But before I get into that, before I get into all my main topics, very quickly I want to talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is not too important. It's going to be probably, I'm just going to throw together some videos that fit the time frame of this commentary. As of right now, this is going to be a Nuketown game. I got this a while back when Nuketown 24/7 was out. This isn't going to be video of me winning and going for the objective. This is just me going to go out on an all-out slaying tear. I'm just going to kill, and then kill probably some more. But other than that, if the commentary doesn't last that long, then I'll probably put up some random gameplay that I got somewhere. But the gameplay, like I said, not too important. But what really is important is what I'm going to be talking about. Seeing as I am a pretty relatively unknown commentator, I only have about 1,600 subscribers at this moment. A lot of people seem to come to me when it comes to, asking for shoutouts or asking to get in my sub box, or, asking questions of, how do I go from where I am now to probably like 14 subscribers to where you're at now. I'm not asking, how do I get to where XJaws is out, but how do I get to where you're at? And I think a lot of people ask me that question because I am so relatively unknown. I do check all of my messages, so you're more than likely, more susceptible or more prone to, get an answer out of me than, let's say, XJaws, seeing as how he probably gets so many messages a day. But very quickly, I'm just going to go over the basics, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so I'm going to say this right now. YouTube commentating is not a cheap thing. YouTube commentary does require a lot of money. It's like $200 for a capture card, $100 for a high quality microphone. You gotta buy an editing program that is capable of editing in HD, which costs, if you don't want to illegally download it, that'll probably set you back quite a pretty penny. It's not a cheap thing. So if one of the reasons you are recording with a Dazzle and commentating with your iPhone is that you can't afford these things that are required to be a YouTube commentator, while I understand, trust me, I definitely understand, you absolutely have to have these things. They are an absolute requirement. They are absolutely necessity. So while I definitely understand where you're coming from, if you can't afford it, odds are right now is probably not the best of times to get into this whole YouTube commentary thing. But with all that said, I'm going to get into it right now of just all the basics, and even going into a lot of detail about how to become, a known commentator, and, how to go from relatively nothing to relatively something. The first thing you're going to need is you're going to need an HD capture card. The two most used capture cards out there are the HD PVR and the Blackmagic Intensity. So what I want you to do right now is, let's use XJaws for example. Open up a video from XJaws and then open up one of your videos. Now what I want you to do is I want you to compare the quality. I don't want you to compare anything else. As for right now, just compare the quality. If you can compare the quality to XJaws and it fits, you record in 720p, 1080p, and it's fine, then that's great. You've completed step one. But if you do have an HD PVR or a Blackmagic Intensity, and you compare the videos and they don't look the same, odds are you messed up on the HD render settings. So just for an example, let's say you use Sony Vegas. You record with a Blackmagic Intensity. If your quality does not look the same as XJaws, odds are you messed up on the render settings. So my advice would be, go to Google and just Google HD render settings for Sony Vegas. That's probably the only reason that your quality is different. But if you're not using an HD capture card and you're using a Dazzle, you're not going to go anywhere with a Dazzle. I'm sorry, but that's just the absolute truth. Maybe a few years ago you could get away with Dazzle quality, but it's no longer like that. You absolutely need to have HD quality, because nobody's going to subscribe to you if you're using a Dazzle when they can just go subscribe to somebody else who's using a an HD capture card. So that's just an absolute necessity. If you can't afford it, I'm sorry, but that's just the way things are. The next thing you're going to need is a high quality microphone. I myself, alongside with Muzzafuzza and XJaws, all use the blue Snowball microphone. Now this is a $100 professional USB microphone. It's an awesome microphone. I can personally attest to how awesome it is. Again, if you can't afford it, while I definitely sympathize, it is an absolute necessity. You absolutely need to be able to record in high quality when commentating. So again, open up one of XJaws' videos and just compare the quality of your commentary. I'm not saying compare the content. I'm not saying, you know, compare yourself as a commentator to him. Just compare the quality. Does it sound like you're recording with an HD or a high quality professional microphone, or does it sound like you're recording it off your cell phone? You gotta be able to record in high quality. The next thing you're going to be able to need is, this is very basic and I shouldn't even have to explain this, but if for the sake of this video, let's say you're trying to be a gameplay commentator. You're absolutely going to need to be good at the game you're trying to play. If you want to be a gameplay commentator, you have to be good at the game. It's very simple, but a lot of people don't seem to get that. They think, YouTube commentary isn't really about the gameplay. It's more or less about just your personality. And while that's definitely true in some cases, for the sake of this video, let's say you're trying to be like an XJaws or a Woody's Gamertag or any of those top commentators. You absolutely have to be good at the game you're playing and provide, fun to watch gameplay. But now let's get into the next point, and that is you need a program that is capable of editing HD videos. If you think you can get a Blackmagic intensity and then capture it and then edit it in Windows Movie Maker, you can't. Windows Movie Maker is not able to edit, .mp4 or HD video files. You absolutely need to have something. I personally use Sony Vegas Pro 10 and it works wonderfully. It does its job perfectly. So you gotta have that. Again, if you can't afford it, while I do sympathize, it's an absolute necessity. Like I said, I'm not trying to be mean when I say, if you can't afford it, you shouldn't do this YouTube thing, but that's just the absolute truth. You absolutely have to have these things. The next thing that you guys are absolutely 100% going to need is a good commentary voice. Now, I'm not saying you have to be William Shatner. I'm just saying you got to be able to pronunciate well. You got to be able to just commentate and make it flow. You got to be able to do these things, and this is something that actually comes from practice. You're not going to get it on your first try. You're not going to be able to just, start up a video, commentate, fluently for 8+ minutes. It's going to take some practice. You can go through and check all of my commentaries. When I started out, I sucked. I sucked more dick than Pamela Anderson on a boat at commentating when I first started. Now, me personally, I don't think I'm too much better. You guys can be the judge of that. But you're going to get better over time. It's just something that you have to keep practicing at and work at, and eventually you will get better at it. But one thing you do need is you need to be able to, speak clearly. If you were born with some kind of speech deficiency where you can't, talk for long periods of time, or you can't do this or that, while I definitely feel you, maybe you should do something else. Maybe something else instead of gameplay commentary is going to be your thing. But with that said, those are all of the basics. You need an HD capture card, which is a Blackmagic Intensity Pro or an HD PVR. You need a high quality microphone. You need to be good at the game, and you need a program that is capable of editing in HD. But other than that, now let's get into the things that aren't absolutely 100% necessary, but they definitely help. First, you're going to have a nice and presentable channel. You can't have a bright yellow background to the point where if I click on your channel, I'm going to get a migraine because of how ugly it is. I'm not saying you have to hire the world's best graphics designer and pay $100 for, a high quality background, but you need to have a nice background, a nice little YouTube avatar. Just have a nice and neat channel. Make it presentable. Make it so that people will want to click on it and, watch, or not watch, but look at your channel and, not want to throw up because of how ugly it is. Just make it presentable. It shouldn't be that hard. But other than that, that's pretty much it on that case. While it's not 100% necessity, like I said, it's going to help you out in the long run. People want to go to your channel and see, a nice and neat channel. They don't want to see some all messed up or, basic default YouTube layout or anything like that. But now let's get into the most important part of this entire video. What I want you to do right now is if you've passed all the other tests before this, you have an HD capture card, you have a high quality microphone, you are good at Call of Duty Black Ops, you have a program like Sony Vegas, you have a good commentary voice, you can free flow commentary, you have a nice channel. Let's say you pass all of that. Now comes the most important part. I want you to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what separates you from all the other gameplay commentators out there? What makes you unique? Why should I sub to you? You know, what makes you different from everybody else? Like I said, this whole Call of Duty YouTube's commentated scene is so oversaturated that there are just so many other people out there. You need to be able to make yourself, you know, distinguishable. You need to be different from everybody else. So just ask yourself, you know, what makes me different from everybody else out there? Me personally, when I ask myself that question, there are two reasons and there are two things that separate me and make me unique. The first thing is that I still do helpful videos. You know, a lot of big YouTubers out there, you know, they used to do helpful videos and they no longer do those anymore. One of the things that separates me is I still do helpful videos. I still do tips and tricks. I still do jumps and spots. I try to make videos to help you guys, and that's just my main thing. But the other thing that separates me, that I think makes me most unique, is unlike the majority of the commentators out there, and this is no hate to anybody else. This is not me trying to hate. A lot of these commentators will even admit to the fact. I know CNanners and Hutch did. The thing that makes me unique is the fact that I can hop on any console first-person shooter and get good gameplay. I've been a competitive Halo player for 6 years now. For 6 years, I've constantly played the best in the world. Not only played, but, you know, kept up with and even beaten in most cases the best in the world. I've been a competitive Shadowrun player since 2007, and Shadowrun is hands down the most competitive first-person shooter ever made for the console. While that's definitely not something that would make my commentaries better, it's one of those things that not a lot of other YouTubers can do. Hutch and CNanners, when Black Ops was not quite out, when Halo Reach was, they even admitted, you know, they're not very good at Halo Reach or Halo in general. I'm somebody that can hop on Halo, get gameplay against, you know, your favorite MLG pro, then I can hop on Call of Duty and get the gameplay that you're watching right now. You know, I've been a first-person shooter player competitively for 6 years now, so one of the things that definitely makes me different is the fact that I can do that. I can hop on any of these competitive first-person shooters and get good gameplay. While that's definitely not something that is amazing or spectacular, it does make me unique in a way. But so if you can, you know, generally look yourself in the mirror and answer that question of what makes you unique, I definitely would suggest that if you're still not getting any views, if you're still not getting any subs, you definitely need to get your videos known. Just because you make good videos doesn't mean that the people are automatically going to know about them. They're not going to flock to your channel just because you make good videos. You have to let them know that you're making good videos, and you can do that by uploading to community channels. You know, Machinima Respawn, you can upload to a number of community channels. You can post your videos on websites, but overall, it's your job to let people know that you are a commentator. Not only that you're a commentator, but that you're a good commentator. They're not going to automatically know. You have to show these people that you can do good videos that not only entertain, but help. So, if you could do all of that, definitely what I would suggest is if you're a new commentator, stay away from the personal videos. The reason that people like CNanners can, you know, make these videos where they really just, they don't help people, but they just kind of talk, is because they have so many subscribers that are subscribed to them because of their personality. CNanners can make a video of him burping for 5 minutes, and it'll probably get the #1 liked video of the day, because CNanner has a huge following of people who just generally like his personality and generally like him. As a new YouTuber, you're not going to have that following that CNanners has. So if you make a video of, you know, your personal life, nobody's going to care. You have to make videos that people will want to watch. Helpful videos, entertaining videos, but just something that, you know, somebody who's never met you before will like. And, you know, that's something that's not easy. It's definitely hard, but it's definitely worth it. Me personally, I chose to do helpful videos. That's just my thing. I like to do videos that help people because I feel like if I make a video that helps somebody, they can send it to their friend, and then they can send it to their friend, and it can get passed around because it's generally a video that's entertaining and helpful. So, like I said, just kind of stay away from those videos in which you kind of talk about your personal life or this and that or this and that. While it's definitely could be a part of your YouTube, I would say, career later on, as of right now, it's just something you should stay away from. So, you know, if you meet all of these, you know, you have the perfect channel, you're kind of doing your own thing, I would definitely advise to, you know, uploading to community channels like I said. But overall, guys, I hope you liked this video. I'm kind of running out of time. I I definitely think that if you follow all of this, you could definitely take your channel from maybe where it is now, might be small channel, to something that might be a lot bigger. But if you like this video, guys, please, it really helps me out. Give it a like, favorite it, do whatever, just pass it around. I don't even care if you like it, but if you really did like it, show it to some of your friends. But that's it, guys. I hope this video helped you guys maybe create your own channels, but I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching.